Hi everyone, it's Physio Cat here. I use she and her pronouns, and today I'm going to bring you an exercise program for spastic diplegia. So anyone who feels like this video is a good fit for them is welcome to join us. You don't have to have that diagnosis, but this video was just made for these folks in mind so that if you wanted a little yoga program or stretching routine that was more specific to you and your needs, you might be able to find this useful. So yeah, thank you for watching and we'll get started. The main thing that you need today is a wall and a comfortable spot to sit on the floor. So you can lay your back up against the wall just like this. You can use pillows if that feels comfortable. And try to scoot your bottom as far into the corner of the wall and the floor as you can. Now your knees might be far off the ground here, and that's okay. We're just going to slowly let them relax, however that looks to you, as best you can. So if you feel more comfortable with your feet together, knees off to the side, that's great. If you want to try and stretch them out long, you can do that too. And we can also bring some pillows underneath your knees just to make that a little bit more comfortable for you. So we're going to slow down here, finding a comfortable seat and just noticing what's happening with your breath. Do you feel like you're breathing a bit shallow? Are we a bit worked up from the day? Can you feel any movement in your belly as you're breathing? And I just want you to see if you can slow that down. So we're going to try and breathe deep into our belly, but more than deeply, I just want you to try and breathe slowly. So let's see if we can try a few breaths just like that. And feel free to have your hand on your belly to notice any movement that may or may not be there. And just noticing if your belly feels really tight today. If it feels a bit looser at the top, tighter at the bottom, or if you're feeling some tension around where your belly meets your rib cage. And if you do have any tight spots, I wonder what it would be like to try and breathe into that space. And seeing if you can notice where your hips are meeting the floor right now. Seeing if you have any tension around your bottom. And if we can imagine breathing deep, deep, deep into the pelvis and relaxing some of those tension and tight muscles around your bottom. And as you exhale, just letting your bum kind of sink into the floor. And noticing if you're holding any tension in your shoulders as well. Seeing if you can let your shoulders relax and kind of hang down towards the floor. Now I'm going to get everybody to just look all the way up wherever you're sitting now, whether you're looking at your ceiling or looking outside. And then we're going to bring the chin all the way down to the chest, getting a nice stretch at the back of the neck, coming back up to the midline, and we're just going to drop your left ear to your left shoulder, and then your right ear to your right shoulder, back to the midline, and then we're going to look over our left shoulder, and then over our right shoulder. We're going to do that one more time, looking all the way up, back down, all the way down to our chest, back to the midline, left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder, back, and then we're going to look over the left shoulder, and then look over the right shoulder. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to drop our hands by our sides, and we're going to take a nice deep breath in as you reach your hands all the way up, almost trying to keep them against the wall if you're sitting with your back to the wall. And then as you breathe out, lowering them down. So there's no pressure to hold your arms against the wall, and I can tell you I can't reach that far back either. But that's just the direction we're going in. We just want to have a nice open chest all the way up and all the way down. Good. And one more time. All the way up and all the way down as you exhale. Very good. Now I want to see if you can wiggle your toes. Can you try and keep your heels still? Keep most of your foot still, but just a little wiggle in the toes. That's really good. Now, if you have a pillow under your knee, like I do here, we're going to take that out and we're going to try our best to stretch our legs out all the way in front. So what this looks like from the side is instead of having your knees bent like this, we're just going to try and straighten them out. You might have to kind of walk your heels forward a little bit at a time, and you can keep your back against the wall there if it's more comfortable. And we're just going to see how far we can get before we feel a nice big stretch in the hamstrings here. So that's that muscle behind your thigh, just at the back there. And if you're just feeling it as you're sitting here all ready to stretch, even if your knees are bent, that's perfect. This is what we want to do. So we're going to have a nice deep breath in and breathe out. And we're going to keep this deep breath going and see with each breath if you can kind of walk your hands a little bit further forward. Or maybe instead of the hands, we just tilt our chest a little bit forward. Or maybe we can walk our heels out another centimeter. And there's no pressure. Wherever you're at today is perfect. And we're just basically breathing into the stretch. So we really want to hold that and get a nice big stretch behind the legs here. You can play around with your foot position. So see if you lift your toes up, what that does to your stretch. And if you leave your feet nice and loosey-goosey, does that feel better? Does that change anything for you? Imagining with each inhale that air is going all the way down past your pelvis into that muscle behind your legs. And then as you breathe out, all that tension is coming back out and leaving your body. Now we can put the pillow back under our knees if you like, if that's more comfortable for you. And from here, we're just going to work on lifting our toes and our feet up. So we're kind of flexing our feet and then pointing our toes. Flexing the feet and pointing the toes. And then we're going to do a big circle with the ankles. So the way this looks is just rolling them out to the side, down, and back up. So we're just doing that. You can do it with your hands too. That's cool. Point your toes down and back, just like that. And you might not get tons of movement, and that's okay. We're just seeing where you're at today. That's it. There's no judgment. Our bodies are going to do what they're going to do, and we're just seeing if we can give a little bit of extra mobility today. But if there's a certain direction that doesn't feel good or it's just not happening, that's okay. We can, leave that be for today. So from here, we're going to come on to all fours. So you can either transition on the side by pushing up off your hands and bringing your knees underneath your hips like this. Or if there's a different way that feels more comfortable for you to get here, feel free to do that. There's no pressure. What we want to do is just have hands and knees here and this feels like. It might take a minute for you to kind of spread the knees apart to be comfortable. We want your knees to be hip distance apart. And you can just start by doing a little bit of swaying back and forth, seeing how it feels to put weight on the right side and then the left side. Right side and left side. Go back and forth a few times. And then we're going to roll forwards onto our hands and then back onto our knees. So a little bit of forward and back motion too. And noticing how your feet feel in this position. Is there any tension along the top or the front of your ankle? Any tension in the foot? We're going to lift your right foot up and see if you can do any of those circles with the right foot. We'll relax that down, and then same thing. You can do any circles with that left foot. We're going to do a few of those circles, and then we're going to come into a cat-cow. So from here, your legs should stay in the same position, and our ankles and our knees are hip distance apart. So the whole time we're doing this, we're hip distance apart. And we're going to drop our belly, look forward as you breathe in. And then you're going to round your back, look towards your chest as you breathe out. And you're almost pushing away from the mat. Push really nicely with those arms. And then you're dropping your belly, looking forward, breathing in. And then breathing out as you round your back, push away from the mat, chin to chest. Now, if it's available to you, you can try tucking your toes for this. So that just means lifting your feet up and seeing if you can get your toes to kind of come onto the bottom side towards the mat. So you're almost making like a 90-degree angle with your toes there. If that feels like too much of a stretch, just keep the tops of your feet down onto the mat. But if you want a bit more, you can tuck your toes, and that'll give a nice stretch through the feet while you're doing this. So let's do 3 more of these. Breathing in as you drop your belly and look up. Breathing out as we roll down, push away from the mat. Breathing in as you lift your chest up, drop your belly, and breathe out, round and push away. Breathing in, drop your belly, and breathe out, roll down, push away from the mat. Perfect. And then we're going to come back to the middle here. So you're just kind of hanging out in the middle where we were rocking side by side, front to back. Find the midpoint where you have equal weight through your arms and your legs. Okay? From here, we're going to lift your left arm all the way up in front, and then bring that down. And then we're going to lift the right arm all the way up, and back down. Now with the legs, we're going to try to see if we can get any lift, but what we'll start with here, pillow out of the way, we're just going to drag your left foot and your toes all the way back as far as you can. And then if you still feel balanced and want to try this, you can try and lift your toes up off the mat and then bring it back down. Okay, same thing with the other side. We're just going to drag those toes back. And if you feel like that's enough of a stretch and a movement for you today, this is perfect. And then if you want more, you can go as far as you can and lift your toes up off the mat. Lower them back down. And bring your knees back to the midline. And we'll do that one more time. So we go left arm up and back down. We're going to go right arm up, down, and drag dragging those left toes back as far as you can. Option to lift your toes up off the mat. You don't have to. That's good. And then dragging those right toes back. Option to lift up. And then back down. Very good. Now, staying in this position again, I'm just going to come to the side so you can see what my legs are doing. We're going to shift our weight onto the left leg, and we're going to lift our right knee and foot up off the ground, and then bring it back down. Now, this one is always called the fire hydrant because it kind of looks like a little dog going pee on a fire hydrant. So we're going to try and do that with the left side as well. So shifting your weight onto the right side, and then you're just lifting that left leg out to the side, just like you're having a little pee. Lower that down, and then we're going to shift our weight onto the left, lift the right leg up, down, and then shift onto the right, lift the left leg up, down. Let's do this one more time on each side. Shift to the left. We're going to lift the right leg up. Good. Shift to the right. And we lift the left leg up. Good. Now from here, we're going to sit our bottom all the way back onto our feet. And we can walk our hands forward. We can rest our head down. You can rest your head onto your hands if that feels more comfortable to you. Whatever feels like a nice resting position is perfect. And we're going to do 3 slow, deep breaths here. Come back up onto your hands and your knees. Sticking with our theme of the dog there, we're going to do what's called a little tail wag. So we're just going to shift our hips off to one side and look in that direction, and then the other side. So from the front, just looks like, let's see, just kind of like you're wagging your tail if you're a little dog. And you can go as slow or as quick as you like. Either way is fine. Now from here, we want to come onto our belly. So however feels best to do that is perfectly fine. You can kind of come down onto your elbows here and walk your legs out. You can sit down and roll onto your belly, whatever feels good. And we're gonna get your hands down on the mat, elbows down, and your elbows are directly under your shoulders here, just like this. So we should get a nice big stretch through our belly and through our back. Some people might feel it in different places, and that's okay. You can shift your weight from one elbow to the other. Great. And we're gonna have a nice deep breath in here. Now from here, we're gonna roll onto your back. So you can do that gracefully or ungracefully. I tend to be a bit clumsy at that. And then we're gonna bend your knees and see if you can get your feet flat on the floor here. From here, we're gonna try to do a bridge. So you can think about lifting your hips up off the floor, just like that. And then slowly lowering back down. Now you might find you just clench the muscles around your bum, but can't lift off, and that's okay. That's where we're at today. So if you just want to do some bum squeezes, you can squeeze your bum, almost imagine that you're about to lift them off, and then relax. And if you feel ready to lift, you can squeeze, lift your hips up, and then lower back down. Now we're going to try and pair that with our breath. So we're going to breathe in before we start, no matter what you're doing. And then as you exhale, you either squeeze your bum cheeks or squeeze and lift into a bridge. as you exhale. And then breathe in as you come back to your starting point. And breathe out as you exhale. And breathing in. And breathing out, lifting up. All right, and come back to your back. We're going to let the legs come out nice and long. Come into a comfy position here. You can use the pillows if you like. We're going to have hands on your belly, and we're going to drop back into that breath we were talking about at the start. See if it's changed at all. Can you feel the movement in your belly in this position? And let's try and wiggle those toes. How does that feel in this position? Is that easier, harder? And then doing a few of those little ankle circles. And seeing if that feels different here too. We can also switch directions, going equally in both ways. Now we're going to try and keep our right knee as straight as you can. It's okay if there's a little bend, but we're just trying to keep it as straight as we can. And we're going to lift that up off the floor and lower down. And let's do the same thing with the left side, lifting all the way up and back down. We're going to do 2 more of those on each side, lifting the right leg up and down, left leg up and down. 1 more on each side, doesn't matter how high you go, up and down, and left leg up and down. Good. We're going to bring our feet together, knees apart, hand on the belly, close your eyes, and let's do 3 slow deep breaths here. Now, if you're chilled out and want to rest here for longer, please do. If you want to take this moment to stop and kind of move on with the rest of your day, it's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for stretching and moving with me today. It was great to have you here. And if you want to share this with any friends who might benefit, feel free to share. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. See ya.